So we're coming to the finishing stages of putting our quilt together. So we've joined our rows together. I've created some binding. Let me just get this organised. So I've used the same fabric as I have for the sashing. So I've cut 5 widths of fabric, 2.5 inches. I've joined on the diagonal as I did before, trimmed it, pressed it to open, and I've pressed the binding in half, and I'm going to add it onto my quilt. So I'm going to leave a fairly long tail, start in the middle of my quilt. I've got stitch length on about 2.5, 2 3/4, even down. So 1/4 inch from the edge, and I'm just going to attach it to the front. I'm going to finish this by stitching the binding by hand on the reverse. So this is just as you would do on any quilt. I'm going to go down to that bottom corner, about 1/4 inch away. I'm going to stitch into the corner to create my mitered corner. And then straight into the corner. I'm going to fold my binding up and then back down. It just forms a right angle on the top. Going to line up again with the edge of my quilt. And stitch again from the corner. Going to do exactly the same on the side. We're almost down to the corner. Directly into the corner. Needles up, turn it round. So I'm going to fold up at the right angles and back down. Then line it up with the edge. Make sure my thread is underneath into the back. Keep on going. last block on this side. Right, I'm going to join it in going into this corner. Right, 1/4 inch away. Straight into the corner, needle up, turn it around. Just follow the same process, fold it up, just like folding the corner of a present. So I just got this side to do before we turn it around, and we'll be stitching towards where we started. So once I've got the binding on and I've hand sewn it, this will get washed to get all the marking out. Go. So just 1/4 inch away into the corner. Up. So I'm going to come part way down before we join it. So hold that. So I'm going to go halfway, 2/3 of the way down this side. First stitch will come off. This is where we're going to overlap and join our binding. So I'm going to take a piece off here. So that's going to, I'm going to lay that up along the quilt, and then from the one from the top I'm going to lay over the top. This is my width, is 2.5, so I'm going to measure, put that on the top, and I'm going to cut the top one there. You can measure if you like, I just use the binding strip. So then we're going to join this on the mitre, and it's good to leave a nice gap. The less room you've got here, the more awkward it gets. So the one from the top, going to lay right sides down, and you'll know with this fabric, you'll know because the fold is pointing up. One from the bottom, just make sure you don't twist it, you want it to be wrong side up, so So you've got your fabrics right size together, to lay them flat on there, and you're going to stitch diagonally. Just lay that top one flat. There you go. You can mark this if you want to, and you can put pins in. Just going to hold it there. I'm going to stitch diagonally into the corner. Before I cut anything, I'm going to check that it fits. So there we go. And then I can trim that and finger press that seam. And fold that back in half. So you want to check that before you trim it, because if you have to redo it, you've got the fabric there to do it. You can't add fabric on if it's not there. So I'm going to, just where that fold is, I'm just going to make sure it's folded flat. Going back over where I started, going to lay that flat on there, make sure it's lined up. Over the start first, and there we have it. So when we fold that over, it just looks like a normal join. So what I'm going to do now, all that's left to do, is going to fold our binding over to the reverse, and we're going to clip it, and then that can be hand sewn in place. And that is your Confidence Builder sampler quilt complete. So I hope you've enjoyed the Confidence Builder series. Thoroughly enjoyed doing it from my side. So we had 9 different blocks where we tried out different ways of quilting using our walking foot. I really hope that you take away the fact that having practice makes it a lot easier, and that it builds up your confidence to try and create your own designs. We've seen how we can take 2 different designs and put them together for a different effect. So that's something else that you can take forward. Having had that practice, stitching in the ditch won't have the same fear as when you're starting out. We have a greater control of the quilt as we're moving it through the machine. We get more precise with our piecing, and that certainly helps. With the quilt as you go method of joining, it means that we can quilt smaller squares. I think especially if you're using a smaller domestic machine, being able to have smaller pieces that are easy enough to manipulate and then join them together into a bigger quilt is quite a good way of building up our quilts. It's certainly one that I'm going to pursue as well with some free motion quilting. it's easier moving smaller squares around and then joining together, and you create a really effective quilt. If you've enjoyed being with us for this series, do come and join us in my online members club. We do a lot more of this within the club, and I'm able to help and give much more individual attention to people's needs, and to create videos and projects that you want to do and show you the ins and outs of how to do it. We have a monthly get together via Zoom, so it's a great way of coming and asking questions. It's a great way to show off what you're creating, and just some time that you can get to be with other people that enjoy the same things with you. She'll put a link in the comments for you to find out more, and we would love to open the doors and welcome you in. Till the next time, take care, and I look forward to speaking to you very soon. Bye for now.